CRMatics video session 168. So basically in today's video, I will actually walk you through the filters which is present in the dataset, how we utilize that, and what are the different kinds of filters which one can use in a dataset or lens, however you call it. So moving to the Analytics Studio. So here I am opening this account of LeftJoin. And once I open this, for example, here, let's say I take some parts. For example, let's say I take the stage. Okay. So here are some of the stages and we have the count of rows. And if I go to filters, there are various ways in which you can filter out. Now, for example, if I take something like sum of amount as well. Okay. I've taken sum of amount, and here what I can do is there are different kind of filters for different part. For example, let's say I can put a filter firstly, of course, on the dimensions. So for example, I go for, let's say, stage bucket equal to, I go for open stages. Okay. Let's say I go for that. Okay. So that's one filter. This is one of the filter in which we can apply. Now, similarly, we can also apply filter for something related to measure. For example, I want to go for a measure. Let's say go for amount. Okay. So when you are applying filter for amount, you can actually choose the starting value and end value. Okay. Now, other than that, one more thing is like basically here, when I go for stage bucket, I have this option called, let's say, open and close. Let's say I go for open stages. Okay. That is one of the way to do it. Now, there are further options as well. For example, you have this operator. You can go for does not equal. So if I go for does not equal, I can go for open stages. It will show me all the closed stages. If I go for closed stages, it will show me all the open stages, right? So this is the way. There are further options which are available. So you can also go for contains. Let's say I go for, I think here it won't be applicable because I only have two stages. But let's say I get something called stage. Okay. I take something called stage. So here I can go for this operator called contain. And for contains, maybe if I just write n, e, okay, or yeah, I think any is fine. So you see, when it's showing any, basically the first two words is being taken and it's showing me two parts over here. So that is the thing about contains. Okay, so similarly contains, you can have does not contain. So in does not contain also, so when you are going for contains or does not contains, you have to enter at least two values. That's for sure. Okay, when you're going for dimension, you have to apply for two values. And again, similarly, I will have the same results where need analysis and negotiation won't pop up. Okay, so that's the thing about does not contain. You can also go for starts with. For example, I can write something like, again here also, like when you are going for start with, you have to give two words at least. So if I click on apply, it's going to show me two words of closed lost and closed one if I go for CL. Okay, then if you go for does not start with, again if you put CL, basically it will show you all the stages except for closed lost and closed one. Okay, now similarly you can go for ends with. So for example, I go for something like ends with, again I go for ON, let's say. Okay, so I have something called closed one, I have something called proposition qualification. So all these three are ending with ON. That's what it's being reflected over here. Fine. Similarly, you can go for, also let me duplicate this tab. Similarly, you can go for does not end with. So if you write does not end with, let's say ON. Okay, so basically other than these three, qualification, value, proposition, and closed one, it will show you everything else. Okay, that's the thing about does not end with. And then of course is null. So basically if one of the stage is null, if you apply it will show no result, because currently I don't have anything related to stage null, as stage is a compulsory field. But in case there is something which is, null, let's say, it will also filter that out. Okay, so that's the thing about filtration. That is one thing I wanted to show you on the dimension. Like under this operator, you have equals, does not equal, you have content, does not contain, start with, does not start with, ends with, does not end with, is not. This is a simple English language, and definitely you can filter that. I've already shown you for a dimension. Now let's say I want to go for a measure. Okay, so when I go for a measure here, for example, I can go for amount. Okay, and here you have this option of choosing from which amount to which amount you want. For example, let's say I want till, okay, something like this. I think it is, yeah, it is like 10 million. So I'm clicking on apply. So this filter got applied. Now of course there's no change. Maybe I can reduce this to 1 million and then click on apply. So currently it is showing me all those values, like the amount should be within this range, and based on that it is showing me that part. Okay, so that is one thing which is done over here. So whichever amount is falling in this range, only those sum of amount are being taken up over here. Okay, when I go for sum of amount, fine. So that's how it is taken up, fine. And it is done for each row. Now similar to this one, here also you have something called equals. You can go for equals. Let's say you want to provide certain values. I'm not quite sure what are the values I have. Maybe I can just quickly check on my data export. Okay, let me check it over here. Let's say I go for select ID, amount, term, opportunity, and let me run the export. Yeah, so I have all these values, and maybe I can just checking if there is any value which is the maximum kind of a thing. Okay, I guess I can take something like 50,000 because I have quite a few values related to 50,000. If I just give 50,000, it will show me up all those stages currently. There are two stages where I have that amount related to 50,000. Okay, that's why it's showing up. Like even here also, if I query it out, fine, and you will actually get to see. I can of course put further filters, but anyways, I'm just scrolling it down to show you. So yeah, here we have this proposal and value proposition, and I think that is proposal and value proposition. Proposal of price code is also there. I guess I need to run this once. Okay, but anyways, here for proposal or price code, is it how much? Yeah, 50,000 is there. I guess some of the thing didn't run. I guess I have to just check it out. Maybe I can just auto filter it out this once. I just to check. So maybe I can also take ID. Hmm. I think I didn't. I have to run the sync once. Okay, that's why this is not popping up. Or maybe this doesn't have, the related account. I guess that also could be the reason. I'm not sure. Okay, but anyways, we have found out that part. So let's continue and move into this one. So here we have something called as equal. Similarly, you have does not equal. So if you go for does not equal to show me all the values, which does not equal 50,000, which is completely fine. That's the meaning of this does not equal. And similarly, you have less than. So if you want to find all those values which are, let's say, less than 50,000, and if you click on apply, all those options will pop up which are having less than 50,000 records. Okay, and similarly you have something called as greater than or equal to. It's the same thing, fine. So less than, I mean, as the name suggests, we actually can go forward and check it. And then you have greater than, so it is less than equal to, greater than equal to. So for example, I want greater than equal to 550,000. So that's how it will show up, fine. And similar is the case with greater than or equal. Then you have is null. So wherever you have amount is null, right? Wherever null amount is there. So currently we don't have, because we are actually putting some zero. So that is like we don't have any such records where amount is null. And if you go for is not null, this is the way. So these are various options which you have for measures between equals, does not equal, less than or equal to, greater than. Okay, and that's the way it pops up. Now we will go for the we will filter on close date maybe, and let me just check the records over here as well. Okay, so I have the close date all I think mostly related to 30, right? 27. Yeah, I can take some random value, that's fine. Okay, now what I will do is I will just duplicate this one, and maybe again I'm taking the stage over here, and I will go for the filter of close date. So when I go for this close date, so these are the various ways you can filter out. Fine, you can choose all time. You can go for current fiscal year, previous fiscal year, next fiscal year. Okay, current quarter. So you have all this classification related to fiscal year, where you can go for all these years related to fiscal year as well as fiscal year to date. Then you can go for quarter as well. You can go for current year, previous year. I think for this one, I don't have any records related to previous year. I'm quite sure about it. Yeah, there are no records. Okay, I have something related to this previous year. So I can go for this previous, current is 2025. So I can go for previous year. That is one thing I can do. So let's say I go for previous year. Okay, I go for close date of previous year. So for previous year, currently it's not showing up. I guess it's that reason because it's not directly an opportunity data set, it's an account of left gen. Okay, but anyways, we can actually do this part as well, where we can go for previous year. Okay, or let me just check if I have something related to opportunity. I think if I do directly on opportunity, that will be much more helpful. Okay, I have something called an opportunity dataset. Maybe I can check it over here. Okay. Yeah, I guess this is the perfect place to check that. So maybe I'm going for stage, and I think there are 398 records, 717. I guess some filter is applied somewhere. What which is showing 398 count of rows and stage. I think these are all closed one. Okay, which is fine. These are all closed one records. For some reason, the filter is applied, I guess, on the data layer. Okay, so anyway, this is of no use to me because 398 records are only being shown. And let me just check if there is something else I can check out, because I remember some filter we had applied on the data layer for which is not popping up. Okay, here also is the same thing anyways, but that doesn't matter. What matters is like here you can still go for, or what I can do is I can also just check on the create. Let me check if we have something called created date on account level. Okay, I have something called created date. So of course on account we are pulling all the data. So let me go for account ID from account. Let me select this part, and here what I will do is I will go for created date. Fine, I will go for name. I will go for industry. Fine, run the so yeah, here you have something related to previous year. I have a lot of record for this created it. I mean, all the records I guess are for created it. I have a few records for present year. So this one I can do a filter on. So if I go for created date, I can filter it out. Let's say for current year. For current year, of course, it will show me some records. And let me do one thing. Here I go for count of rows instead of stage. Let me go for, let's say, industry. I think that will be helpful. Still no result found, which is strange. Okay, so some account name are there, okay, which are having these records for current year, as you can see. So anyways, let me go for account name as of now. And here definitely if I go for previous year, some more records will come up. So let's see if I go for previous year. So as you can see, the previous year records are coming up. Okay, and similarly here you can choose the current quarter, previous quarter, next quarter, current month, previous month. Okay, next month, whatever is there, you can actually choose that part. Here, they think I don't have anything related to the next month, or yeah, from month perspective, I don't think I have anything over here. Okay, maximum I have 4 right now. I can go for 2 months earlier, but anyways, that will not make sense here because we don't have that option. So previous 2 months, maybe I could have gone on. From date, you can also choose from previous year to date. For example, up till previous year till today's date, like today's 27 June, up till this date, whatever records are there, that you can check up. Okay, similarly, you can also check for previous current year to date. So from current year till today's, whatever records are there, those things we can check up. Okay, so that's the way we can just check this all these things. So what are the records you have created in the last 7 days, last 30 days, last 90 days? Okay, so those records mainly for last 90, or I don't think so for last 90 days any records will come up. Okay, I have one record, like in the last 3 months I've created this record for great grandparent. That's why it's showing up. And you can also go for the last 180 days. Okay, so for the last 180 days, these are the options which I created in the last 4 months. So anyways, this way you can play around. Fine. Then you have the next 7 days, next so for close date. If there is some records which are popping up for the next 7 or next 30 or next 90 days, then these are the options you can choose. So you have a lot of options for date as well. As you can see over here, you can go for all time. This is the natural one. You have to go for all time. Okay, and you can go for this fiscal year options, fiscal quarter options, calendar year options, calendar quarter options, calendar month option, calendar week. Okay, day, all these options are there. As well as you can also go for custom. So when you go for custom, you have two options, that is absolute and relative, and you can choose the date. For example, in absolute you can choose the date range, as you can see. So for example, here I choose something like, okay, nothing is coming up for me over here because the records are mostly existing from here. Okay, let's say I choose from something like 31st August, okay, until, let's say I choose it from 1st Jan, okay. I can go for this absolute option as well. Okay, where currently I don't have records, but you can see this is the range, and I can check if some records are existing or maybe if I just increase this a bit to, let's say, 8 April, I guess we can still see some records. Yeah, some records are popping up, which is makes sense. Okay, in this way now, this is the absolute, and you similarly you can go for relative as well. So under relative, okay. So basically, let me just close this part. uh, and created it, you can also go for relative as well. Fine. So anyways, I will maybe show it in the next session, but I hope you got an idea of the filters. So basically, this is the way you can go for dimension. You have all these options. Similarly, you can also go for measures where you have, all these options. And, similarly, you can go for date where you have a range of options actually. Okay, you can also go for custom, and I will show you that part in the next session. So yeah, that is all about the filters part which are there in dataset. And let's meet very soon in the next.